Start recording. Welcome to another live stream edition of reading patch notes and covering what's coming up in LawBreakers. I am recording this live on Twitch. Be sure to hit twitch.tv/CodeNinjaGaming in order to keep up with what I'm doing in my live streams and interact and join in the conversation here as we talk about things and talk about where LawBreakers is going, the things that I'm happy to see, the things that I might not be so happy to see. Let's get into it. Some good stuff in these patch notes. The first thing you need to know is that there are no role balancing changes in this patch. There's a lot of other great changes coming down. I'm a little sad to see that there are no role balancing changes. I think there's a couple of things that still need to be tweaked, and BossKey has said that they are planning another round of good role balancing patches coming up soon, but they wanted to get some of these changes in place first before they get to that. So good on you, BossKey. I'm glad to hear that you are taking care of that. Let's get into the notes. So first off, they list the date, the time, yada yada yada, all that. Patch 1.3 will require a restart, all the typical stuff there. You can find the PC and PS4 specific patch notes here. We're going to go to the PS4 specific patch notes, which I'm going to point out what I think may be an error toward the bottom of this, where I think they actually included some PC patch notes. They tend to do that, though. They tend to just copy and paste between the two. That's alright. It's alright. No big deal, though. Alright, so it's time for patch 1.3. The big thing that they are doing is adding role limits to quick play. Thank you, BossKey. Thank you, BossKey. Thank you, BossKey. If you have ever been in a game where you have been stacked up against 4 Wraiths and a Juggernaut, or 4 Juggernauts and a Wraith, or 3 or really 4 or 5 of any given class, you know just how awful that experience can be, especially when you're talking about 3 or more Juggernauts in a game of BlitzBall, where they're just constantly spamming walls and spamming armor, and it's like literally every second you hear armor up, armor up, armor up, armor up through the entire game in Occupy or in BlitzBall or in whatever the case may be. Happy Bad Kitty, thank you so much for that, host. Do appreciate that greatly. But you get the idea, right? It's just incredibly frustrating. I really don't like the way that that's happened in the past. It's happened a lot to me recently. So with this patch, with this change, they are introducing role limit, and we'll talk about that down below when it specifically lists it out. Well, okay, here it is. It actually does talk about it here. It'll feature a 2 role limit. That means you'll never run into 3 or more of the same role stacked against you. So what that really comes down to is basically saying you're never going to see more than 2 Juggernauts, more than 2 Wraiths, more than 2 Assassins, more than 2 whatever it is, because there's a limit of 2. The effect of this is huge. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a necessary thing to add to this game, but the effect is huge beyond just who you're facing, because now you may actually need to be slightly faster than you were before in selecting the role that you wanted to play. Because if there's 2 other people on your team that want to play your favorite role, well, one of you is not going to get it. So this is really going to force people to step outside of their main role and pick up a second class, a second role, and really be able to play well with another role, which is going to overall help everything about this game. It's going to provide a lot more opportunity for people to learn different pieces, different roles, different characters, different everything about this game. So I'm really, really, really happy to see that particular change happening. All right, so moving on to the new additions here. They're adding a night version of the Promenade map. This looks absolutely stunningly beautiful. This animated GIF that they have here with the gravity wheel that they have spinning in the background, the water, the lighting here. This looks phenomenal. This looks like a boardwalk at nighttime, and I can't wait to see how the rest of this map plays out with the lighting and shadows and everything. I absolutely love Red Falls, the only other night map that we have so far. So this is going to be great to have both a day and night version of Promenade. Really excited about that. Of course, we just talked about the roll limit of 2. And then there's this next little thing, kick decals. Think of this kind of like stickers from Overwatch, I guess. And yeah, I hate the Overwatch comparisons as well, but it isn't quite a sticker. You don't get to change stickers. You get to change your kick decals, and your kick decal will stick on the wall when you kick it on the wall. It's a nice little touch, because pretty much most of the other weapons in the game will leave some sort of mark on standard walls. Things like LCDs and stuff, screens in the game, you don't really get burn marks and stuff like that on those, but we're looking at Titan here, as you can tell from the Hammerhead rocket launcher, and whenever Titan fires the rocket into a wall, leaves a big black scorch mark. So why wouldn't it kick? Yeah, alright, let's get some kick decals on the wall. I think this is going to be a nice little touch. Azazel 5150, thank you so much for that follow. I greatly appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Next up, we have a new feature, XP Bonus Tracker. It shows active streaks and bonuses in main menus. This is the spot where I think they actually made a mistake and showed a PC edition and not something that will affect PS4. First off, you can tell by the menu system here that this is a PC, not a PS4, which, that little cringy putting that in the PS4 patch notes. But then secondly, there's no XP bonuses in the PS4 like there are in the PC. We don't have double XP bonus bits that we can get out of drop boxes. At least, not that I've ever seen, not that I know of. I can't tell you anybody on PS4 that has ever received a double XP bonus out of a stash box. I don't think it exists in PS4. If that's the case, why is it here? Mose, didn't it say PC on top, though, or was that all on the same page? It was all on the same page. I clicked onto the PS4 version of the patch notes. So these are the PS4 versions of the patch notes. But yeah, here's the patch notes can be found here. This is actually a link. That's probably what you were looking at. PC patch notes can be found here. So there will be some minor differences over there when you get down toward the bottom. But this particular image kind of bothers me that they included this here when I honestly don't think that we actually get XP bonuses in the PS4 version. However, there was one really funny thing about this image. Pay careful attention to the text that pops up right here. Look at that. You see that? What's that say? Negative 20 XP? Brit has no friends. So, whoever this Brit person is, they clearly have no friends, nobody online, and they get a negative XP bonus because they have no friends. I'm pretty sure they're just trolling with that particular image, but that's freaking hilarious. I love those kinds of little details in screenshots and stuff. So now we get to map and mode changes. There's a fair list of changes here, but most of this really comes down to increasing the radius around the objectives. So with BlitzBall, you get a larger radius to actually drop the shield on the BlitzBall. With Overcharge, Uplink, pretty much just Overcharge and Uplink, you also get a larger radius to contest the objective. When it's in the enemy base, there's a slightly larger radius, which make it a little easier to contest. You don't got to get all of your players crammed into a really small area. It's a slightly larger area to be able to contest this. It looks like going from 750 to 850, that's going to be a little more than 10%. What's 750 divided by 850? It's going to be a 12% increase in the radius. They're also changing the contest area, the contesting area, from a sphere to a cylinder. So it's going to be more like the occupy zones in terms of being a cylinder. So that way it'll be a little easier to actually be in the contesting area, I think. That's a good change overall. I know some people aren't super happy about this change, but frankly, I think it's a pretty good change. I think it's going to make the game a little more balanced in terms of not having a ton of your team clumped up on the enemy objective and just getting slaughtered all at once. So, hopefully that'll be a good thing overall. Trench added collision to the top of the central zone above point B. This is a bug that I've seen a few times. It's pretty funny. Right now, you can actually fly Harrier above the big giant pillar in on objective B in Trench, the big pillar in the middle of the map. And if you try to throw it on a health station, on top of the little room inside that pillar, there's this little ledge that you can stand on around the pillar. If you try to throw a health station on top of it, the health station falls through the pillar and lands on the floor in that little room. It's pretty funny looking. A bunch of UI fixes in here as well. These things are not super important to me. I mean, yeah, they're good fixes, but you know, these are just the kind of, okay, let's fix this little visual bug, let's fix that little bit visual bug, no big deal there. Fix some missing or delayed sound effects in Occupy matches. I think I've run into that a few times. Not 100% sure, but I'm sure that'll be one of those things you don't really notice the fix, you just don't really notice a problem anymore, which will always be good. Moving on to the gameplay, matchmaking no longer be entered from old versions of the game. I am shocked that this wasn't there a long time ago from the beginning, quite frankly. I would have expected this to have been there to force people to update their game in order to make sure that everybody has all of the patches and bug fixes and cleanup and everything else that they have in the game, to make sure that it's a fair and balanced game between all of the players, visually and otherwise. So, yeah, no, good on them for finally getting that in place, though. When I first saw the Harrier listing right here, I actually thought that this was going to be a nerf, which I was super excited about, but it's just animation stuff. Okay. No longer completely horizontal. Looks like it's coming out at 90 degrees. Shot clock laser's not rendering properly. Yeah, you know. Okay, sure. Improve the BlitzBall model's visuals when viewing close up. That's pretty cool. It's not going to be blurry anymore, basically. It's going to be in more detail. You know, multiple issues where weapon impact would stick around in the world. Adjusted glow values on Hydronium Blue. This is like the second or third time that they've adjusted the Hydronium Blue weapon skins in order to tone it down a little bit. Apparently, it can get really bright and distracting and make it hard to see the rest of the screen. But again, those are not super duper important fixes. There are some other general additions here that I think are going to be really good to have. First off, the tutorials. Yes, we have the tutorials in the PS4 mode already. They actually enabled that last week, and they're just now giving us the patch notes about that. Maybe there's some additional tutorials, especially in the sandbox, in order to figure out what's going on, but this may just be the patch notes for what they already released last week. This one here, this is important. Matched leavers now automatically receive a D grade for matches they abandon. Good! This will dramatically cut down on the rage quitters and the people that are just not having a good time and want to leave, but this will affect their score, their grade, and hopefully help people stick around longer instead of joining, seeing it's a late game, and then immediately leaving. They'll join, they'll want to leave, but then, oh crap, you know, I'm going to lose all my XP, I'm going to get a D grade, it's going to severely negatively affect me, so maybe I don't want to leave. Maybe I'll try to stick around and actually do some work and get things done. Now, unfortunately, I do tend to leave matches far more frequently than I really want to admit because of, you know, family needs and other things that I have going on. So this will negatively affect me, but I think overall this will be a positive change. I know that this kind of stuff happens in a lot of first-person shooters. It's a pretty common practice to have things like this. So I'm fine with that. I'm not really super stuck on my grade and my score and all that kind of stuff. I'm really just here to have fun. That's ultimately what I'm here for. This next one, adjusting score requirements so that players will see S and S plus more often. Thank you for that, BossKey. It's been incredibly rare that I have even hit an S. I don't think I have ever once got an S plus since the final release of the game, especially not after the change to the grading system to be based on score per minute. Happy Bad Kitty says, Code Ninja equals rage quitting potato. That is totally me. Let's get some Codney tater in there, plus some salt. A salty potato. That's what I am. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm excited to see this. I am hoping that I will finally be able to start seeing some S's and even get an S plus now and then. I honestly don't think I have an S plus at all since the game actually released on August 8th, whatever it was. So, you know, good stuff there. Optimized performance logic behind spawning. That'll be good. There's been some little hiccups and stuff inside of there. Added an update available notification. Sure, that's pretty cool. That's nice, but the updates only happen once a week or so, so not a huge deal there. Improved matchmaking logic to not automatically re-queue players joining a match in progress whose MMR is out of range. That's a huge change right there, and I am very happy to see that. There have been multiple occasions recently where I've been in a match where I'm just completely out of my league. I was in there with friends, they left, or I just didn't have a lot of players to choose from, so the game put me into a higher MMR bracket than I really should have been in. You'll play a match or two, realize that I'm getting destroyed, and I need to find a new match. So I back out, try to get into a new game, and just go right back into the same lobby with the same people. So hopefully this change will prevent that from happening, at least not happen nearly as often. That'll definitely be a good thing. And then optimizations for weapon impacts to address performance hitches on the PS4. This one, I think I may have been seeing this since the closed beta, all the way back to the closed beta on the PS4. There have been these random little hiccups, frame drops that I say as I'm playing. Oh, frame drop, I missed a button click, I missed movement, I end up looking really far off to the side or something like that. So I'm hoping that this will help reduce that particular problem so that we don't have those little frame drops every now and then. I'm not sure optimization for weapon impacts to address hitching, maybe that's where it came from, but whatever the little hiccups are, it's good to see that BossKey is working on this, really optimizing things on the PS4 to get rid of these problems. And then finally, articles can now be scrolled through using the thumbsticks, which I am really happy to see about, because after the last patch notes, if you come over here to the game and you go to news, go to the patch notes 1.2, there's a scroll bar right here. But there's literally no way to scroll. I'm moving my thumbsticks, I'm pressing up and down. There's actually no way to scroll. And I don't think BossKey realized that at all when they released the patch 1.2. I notified them via Twitter with a quick little video capture of that, and they're like, "What? We'll get that fixed." So that's cool to see. Definitely happy to see all that. Overall, this patch 1.3, this release on Monday the 11th is going to be a pretty good patch. It's nothing huge and earth-shattering other than these couple of things up here with the roll limits of 2. That is a phenomenal change. And then the Promenade at night. I'm really excited to see this one. So these two changes, these are like the two big things that I'm really excited to see in this patch. And then hopefully we will be getting the rest of what was promised in September coming pretty soon. We have things like the new map, the skirmishes, the BossKey ranked mode. Well, the BossKey ranked mode may be coming later. It's probably going to be closer to the end of the year for that. But there are several things on the roadmap that were promised within September, and it's going to be really exciting to see all of those things coming out. I'm glad BossKey is continuing to drop updates on almost a weekly basis here. It's really exciting to see just how quickly they're iterating through things and getting things fixed and really supporting the community. Anyways, that's about it for the patch 1.3, the PS4 patch notes for version 1.3 of LawBreakers. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and head over to twitch.tv/CodeNinjaGaming so you can watch all of my live streams and catch up with all of the live news that I talk about and read and interact with me on stream there, along with the rest of the Code Ninja community. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming.